Okay, all right, let's get our class underway here. Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining. Um, as you know, we record all of these trainings that we put together, so this will be available on demand for you and your staff to view at a later time. So for those of you who don't know me very well, I did spend 10 years traveling the state teaching a law enforcement class called Open Source Intelligence Investigations. And what the Open Source Intelligence Investigations class did is it exploited the same things on the internet to gather intelligence on people that hackers use to gather intelligence. So I put together a alternate version of this class that's a lot shorter. But what I want to do is I kind of want to give everyone a taste, a little bit of a flavor as to how a social engineered hack comes together. Because I think what we've gotten really good at as a group is we've gotten really good at an email comes in and it looks a little bit suspicious. You look at it and you're like, this doesn't look right, right? And everyone's really good at sending in support tickets and asking questions and saying, hey, does this email look right to you? And that's great. Like those are great things. Um, we're good at those things. What we might not be so good at are things that are targeted towards individuals. And as we go through this class, I'm going to talk about what that looks like, what a targeted attack looks like. So if we go through our learning objectives real quick, I want to make sure that at the end of this presentation, everyone understands the concept of a social engineered hack. And I want everyone to be able to identify the types of information that we all are freely giving away to social network sites. And I'm going to show you some maybe potentially mind-bending things that we can find on just a random person on the internet. So I think you'll find that interesting. And articulate the methods used by hackers to compromise accounts. You should leave this with a pretty good understanding of that. And identify methods used by scammers to directly steal money or goods. We're going to talk about that a little bit too. And you know, when I do these classes, I'd like to point out that this isn't just about work. This isn't just about the state. This is about you. This is about you, your life, your family, your kids, your grandkids, nieces, nephews. Everyone is impacted by this. So as you gain some of this knowledge, you know, feel free to share it, right? When I used to teach this for law enforcement, I would have a class and everyone with a teenager would come up to me at the end of the class and go, I'm taking away their phone. I'm taking away their cell phone. I'm taking away Facebook. I'm taking away Instagram. I'm taking away Snapchat. Okay, I mean, that's a great approach if you can accomplish that. But one thing that I always tell parents when I teach these classes is you may think that you have your child's Instagram account. You may think that you're following your child on Facebook, and you are. You're following the account that they want you to follow. We'll talk about that a little bit too. So let's talk about what is a social engineered hack or attack. A social engineered attack is any attack by which a hacker gathers and uses some type of personal information to manipulate someone and to provide information needed to access a computer network or account. So we talk about how do you get attacked. We data mine open source information. Email we talked about a little bit. Text is interesting. We don't get so many texts, right? We do get those reported from time to time. You'll hear stories about them. Sometimes you'll get one. We'll talk about the text attacks a little bit in detail. Phone is a real thing. People will call you. I will tell you a real life experience. I was running the IT operation for an organization, and one of our field offices was hacked. And once they realized that we were onto the hack, the hackers started to call people who worked in that office, and they said, hey, this is so-and-so from the help desk. And, you know, I know you guys had some of your accounts compromised, and we're trying to get a handle on that. So we need to change your passwords. And So we literally encountered a situation where we were attacked, and then we had the attackers calling staff, pretending to be helpful. So those kinds of things can happen, right? We don't see that very often in government because we're usually in front of it. You're usually getting messages from Homeland Security or the MIS team or whoever saying, hey, this is happening. You don't always get that in your personal life or even in a business to some extent, because these are pretty crafty and well-organized organizations. So common places hackers go to gather information. LinkedIn is huge. I'm going to give you a real-life example of that. X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm going to show you a real example of that. Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, YouTube, the open market. What does that mean, right? Open market with a question mark. So we're wondering, what does that mean, the open market? It means I could buy your data, right? If I have a business and I collect consumer data, I can sell it to a data broker and they'll be happy to pay me for it. And if I can tie it to an individual, that's even better. So we're always battling entities that want to steal our personal information. So who are these hackers, right? Is this the hacker? And this is kind of like, I put this picture up because this is the stereotypical thought of when you think of a hacker, right? You're thinking of the guy in his basement. He's probably got a few too many Cheetos going on. There's some Cheeto dust on the keyboard, probably plays a lot of games. That's, kind of like your stereotypical hacker. And I will tell you that in a lot of cases, that's not the case. This is the other stereotypical hacker, right? It's the tech guy, the tech nerd, the tech girl, whoever it is. They've got all the gadgets and they're constantly, bundled in wires and monitors. And, that's another idea of what a hacker is. But really, this is what a hacker looks like. And if you think the hacker is the guy in the basement, or you think, the hacker is the person that, is the tech genius, probably not the case, right? A lot of times it's state sponsored. We've seen real examples of this in government. We have seen real examples where foreign countries have attacked state government. So your attackers, your hackers, are organized, they're educated, they're well disciplined, they're structured. I want everyone to think about that, because if you understand the look and the appearance of a hacker, it changes your perception. And I will tell you that hackers even do return on investment analysis. So a lot of these organizations, they will even outsource some of their coding to real companies, and they will have software built that is malicious. So there's a lot of money behind a lot of these hacks. And if you think it's a silly notion that Russia is aggressively attacking US entities, or if China is aggressively attacking US entities, if you think that's a myth, it's not. It's very true. And it's happening all the time. So these are some known state-sponsored hacking groups. Cozy Bear out of Russia, Lazarus out of North Korea, Double Dragons out of China, Fancy Bears out of Russia, Sea Turtles out of Turkey, Charming Kitten is out of Iran. The state of Arizona actually had a real run-in with the Charming Kitten hacking group out of Iran. So these are very real entities that seek to cause real harm. So here's some recent major hacks and the cost. So hackers defeated MFA, which is multi-factor authentication, and logged in using stolen credentials to Crypto.com. Cryptocurrency site, $30 million loss. News Corp, $5 million loss. The ones that are not disclosed are very expensive losses, right? The Red Cross. Bet you a lot of people didn't know that the Red Cross was hacked and a bunch of health information was stolen about their donors. Probably got an email about it. So what happens a lot of times too is the companies get compromised and they don't want it to make national news, right? Home Depot was not thrilled when their point of sale system and their websites were hacked, and it was all over national news. So sometimes there is an effort by the victim the victim business to keep the information quiet. There are laws in place that protect you, but it's the difference between it making the national news and you getting a very quietly delivered email about, a compromise are very different. So companies will work to keep things as quiet as possible. T-Mobile, 37 million customers' data is compromised. MGM Resorts, tons of information compromised. LinkedIn has had 2 significant attacks in 15 years. So hacking facts. Illegal hacking is a $400 billion a year business. It's going up every day. Hacking groups are well organized and they're available for hire. Ransomware isn't just about locking you out of your data anymore. It's about stealing your data and then blackmailing you or extorting you into paying them to not release it. Right? So there was a very well-noted hack that occurred 10 years ago-ish with a dating website called, I think it was something Adult Friend Finder, I think is what it was. And it was a very embarrassing hack because the purpose of that website, it was an adultery site. It was a hookup site. It was a place for people to go and get together and have random encounters. And a lot of information was stolen and a lot of it was sold on the dark web. So you had a lot of people who got caught up in a bind, right? Because some of these hackers, they made websites out of it. And they said, hey, check and see if your spouse was on this website. See if they had an account. See what pictures they posted. Very high profile hack. Ghost contact centers. Those are big scams. So they're literally fake contact centers that are spun up. You might get an email and it might say, hey, here's your receipt for this $1,200 transaction on PayPal. Then it'll say, oh, this wasn't you, call us. And there'll be a toll-free number and you'll call and it'll be a scam center. And they'll say, oh yeah, no worries, we'll get this charge reversed for you. Just give us your routing information and bank account number one more time, if you don't mind. And people do. And people end up losing a lot of money in these scams. Hacking groups do an ROI metric. We just talked about that. So let's take a look. I'm going to walk you through the initial information gathering of a hack. And what I want to point out before we dig into this information is the amount of time that I spent in getting it. I invested 3 minutes into gathering all of the information that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show you how it's used against you. This is all real information. This is real people on the internet. I just went to Twitter or X and just picked some people. I just want to show you, what people are giving away. And maybe it'll give you some pause and you'll think about what you're also giving away. So in this example, I'm going to use a free publicly available website. I'm not going to disclose it. So when I used to teach this for law enforcement, we would go over the actual sites and how they're used and the minutia behind them. I don't want to teach you necessarily how to hack, but I definitely want to teach you some awareness. So I'm going to hold off on some of the information that I would normally give in a law enforcement class and kind of simplify it a little bit. But what I'm going to use a free publicly available website that tracks geotagged people who are posting on X, formerly called Tweets. And what I'm going to do is, for this particular example, I'm going to dial in to Sky Harbor Airport. So what you're seeing on the screen is a screen capture of my screen at the time that I captured this using this free app, and it's showing me people who are tweeting in real time from Sky Harbor Airport. So I just decided to pick the 3. So there's 3 people in this terminal that are tweeting right now. And I kind of have even a rough idea where in the airport they are, right? So the first 3, if I click on this, I've got someone talking about they're going to be on flight 1441. It's an Airbus 321. They give their tail number. I guess in case it goes up somewhere, someone's like, gosh, I wonder if Larry was on this plane with this tail number that turned up here. It's an odd thing to tweet. So that kind of jumped out at me. I've got someone talking about just getting back, being in Arizona from Tennessee. They were out in Tennessee. And then the last person on the list is the person that I've chosen to pick on. And he's saying goodbye to Sky Harbor Airport. And his X handle is Vegas Rebs. So keep that in mind. Vegas Rebs, Sky Harbor Airport. All he's doing is sending out a tweet. So I found 3 people who aren't home in the very least, right? So I found 3 people who aren't home. They're either arriving in or they're leaving the Phoenix metro area. They're likely to be away from home for some time. And since they're willing to share their location to the world, I bet they're willing to share a lot more information, aren't they? So let's see, let's see what's going on. So if I go to Vegas Rebs' X page, I get some information about this person. There's a picture of a child with a hashtag, Live Like Lucas. I want to point out the hashtag. A lot of people see these, right? A lot of people don't understand them. Like, oh, hashtag truth, hashtag freedom, hashtag this, hashtag that. What does that mean? What is that hashtag? If you're not familiar, when you hashtag something and you put it in social networking, a hashtag is a search point. So let's say, for example, I owned a marketing company, and one of my customers is the Diamondbacks. So at a Diamondbacks game, I might flash something on the scoreboard that says, hey, go ahead and tweet your picture on X, or put it on Instagram and use hashtag Arizona Diamondbacks. I can then use software that scours the internet and does nothing but look for hashtag Arizona Diamondbacks. And it's going to find me everyone who's referenced that in some sort of social network post. And it's going to show me where they're at. And it's going to show me how it's trending. And what's interesting from a marketing standpoint, right? A lot of times you'll see on TV, you'll be watching a show, Discovery Channel or whatever you're going to watch, and it'll say, hey, give us a shout out, hashtag whatever, the Kardashians, whoever it might be. The reason why they're doing that is they want to see who is watching their show, not just where in the world you're watching the show from. They want to know literally who. They want to know your name. They want to know who is watching my television show. Why? So they can target market you. We'll get into that a little bit too. So here on this page, I'm just going to go to the next page here real quick. I don't know if you had much time to look at that page. I wanted to leave it there for a little bit so it kind of sat there so you can look at it, because now I'm going to show you how much information is on there in case you missed it. So this is what I learned just on that page. Right? This person has a child with neuroblastoma. Why had? States that he's an ex-neuroblastoma dad. Is the child deceased? I can use a public record search to figure that out. I can use it for social engineering. Right? Is the child a cancer survivor? The answer is likely in the X is all caps. So now we start talking about human behavior. So when people start using certain types of letters, all caps, they're emphasizing something. So in this particular case, if I read into it a little bit, I think they're kind of happy and excited about that. So maybe this is good news. So dad is saying, hey, I'm now an ex-neuroblastoma dad. So now maybe my kid's cancer free, right? He tells me his religion is Mormon. It's a social engineering data point. Went to college, UNLV and Ole Miss, social engineering data points. Occupation is an attorney. Opens the door for public record searches. I found a new dating mining point of interest. Hashtag lives like Lucas, right? What did I just talk about with hashtags? It's a search term. It's something that's designed to be mineable on the internet. So if I'm doing that, I'm now opening myself up to even more searches, more information. I determined that the last name of at least one child, Lucas, or I'm sorry, the name of at least one child is Lucas. That's a social engineering data point. Think about, I can contact this person and say, hey, this is so-and-so from, I don't know, UNLV. We went to school together. Remember, we were in, I don't know, let's see, he's an attorney. Can I look up some law classes that every attorney might take in their undergrad? Of course, maybe some basic science. I'm using information that I'm gaining to bridge the gap, to become familiar with the person. So if I go to this person and I'm saying, don't you have a son named Lucas? Didn't he have like a cancer thing? Or all of a sudden someone's going to let their guard down and go, oh, well, wait a second. Maybe I do know this person. Where do I know you from? And now if I'm a nefarious person, I can make you uncomfortable that you don't recognize me. Well, what do you mean? Oh, can't remember? We were in school. We went to UNLV together. We were in that same class. I sat in the back. Remember, we were at the party. There was a keg. We had red Solo cups. And everyone goes, yes, there was a party with red Solo cups in college. You're right. Oh, maybe I do know you. Dungeons and Dragons fan. That's a very obscure piece of information that he lets go of. All in this page. I gained all of this information. Let's take it to the next step. Other data points that he gives away. So if I start scrolling, right, I'm going to start scrolling and I'm seeing more search tags, hashtag live like Lucas, and I'm seeing a lot of references to baseball. I'm seeing references to Ole Miss. I'm seeing references to the Vegas Rebels, Vegas Rebs, right? So he went to UNLV. Well, what's the name of the college baseball team at UNLV? The Vegas Rebs, the Vegas Rebels. So maybe he played for them. Maybe he played college baseball. So now I'm gaining more information about this person and now their family that I can use. If I keep looking, right? So now I've learned his X handle is Vegas Rebs. I've learned what the Vegas Rebels are. And I'm asking myself, maybe this person lives in Las Vegas. Let's keep digging. So more scrolling, more answers. If I start looking at more tweets, did I drive to Arizona only to make sure the Rebs won a top 13 baseball series? Okay. So this guy is an alumni who's an advocate for the baseball team. He follows them around. He travels with them. What else can I find out? I want to find out maybe where they live. Do you guys think, now we're recording this, so you don't need to answer me. Do you guys think that based upon this tweet that he sent out from Sky Harbor Airport, I can figure out where this person lives? We'll see. Where do they work? Can I figure that out? I don't know. Maybe. It's getting kind of exciting, right? So let's see what I can find. So if I keep scrolling, what do I find? I find his spouse. His spouse is Mrs. Vegas Rebs on X. It's another search point, isn't it? So now I have a whole nother X account that I can data mine. So let's dig in a little bit. This girl's great. She gives me a picture of herself. So now I know not only who this guy is, now I know who his wife is, and I know what she looks like. And now I know his real name because she gives it away to me. And what else does she give me? Phone number and a date of birth, partial date of birth. What? All this guy did was talk about the Vegas Rebels from Sky Harbor Airport. Now I know everything about his family, his kid, his wife. What else can I find out? Let's see. Oh, well, there's the house. It's in Henderson. Public record search. I don't need anything special to find that. Nothing. All I needed to know was that they were somewhere in Nevada. And guess what? He's an attorney. So now I have his full name. I know where he works. I know his profession. I know his wife. I know what she looks like. I know her name. I know their children's name. I know their address. Was it really worth sending that tweet? So in just a few minutes, I've learned this person's real name, their date of birth, their spouse's Twitter account, real name, date of birth, address, kids, family members, medical issues, colleges, employer, phone numbers, travel plans, frequent destinations. Do you think at this point I have enough information in the 30 seconds it took me to find this to social engineer a hack with this guy? He works for a law firm. Maybe I don't like that law firm. Maybe I want to hack that law firm. Maybe I want to get into their system and drop some ransomware and then extort money from them. Could I do that at this point? I think so, right? Like I've got enough information to have a conversation with some people and maybe gather some more intel and get in the door. Think about your password reset questions. Where did you go to high school? Where did you meet your spouse? Where did you grow up? What's your favorite pet's name? What kind of car do you drive? So basically, all of the questions that IT uses for you to reset your password are also all of the same questions that Mark Zuckerberg is asking you on Facebook. And we're freely giving away the answers. So let's pick on our neighbors. So in the past, I sometimes when I would teach this for law enforcement would ask for a volunteer in the class. I did that once because we learned way too much about the volunteer inadvertently. So I'm not going to pick on our agency or anyone here, but I'm certainly happy to pick on publicly available information from our neighbors across the street at the Arizona Commerce Authority. And what I want to show you here is LinkedIn. And what I want to show you is what a great tool LinkedIn is for networking or social engineering. So here is the Arizona Commerce Authority page on LinkedIn. And if I dig in a little bit, LinkedIn tells me some basic stuff about everyone who works there. Just right there. It's like right in front of me, right? I know about where everyone lives. I know about where everyone went to school. I didn't even do anything but just like go to hit the next button and I've got this information, right? How about all their employees and what they do and their jobs? I have that. So we all love LinkedIn. We love the concept of networking. And quite honestly, if you work in a business that is marketing heavy, real estate, loans, the Commerce Authority, for example, anything that's marketing heavy, they want you to be out there. They're encouraging you, get out there, get on LinkedIn. How many connections do you have? Under 1,000, you're not trying hard enough. The consequence of that is we give away some of our personal information. So here's some employees at the Industrial Commission. But what I want to show you here is I want to show you how someone could construct a text scam. It's really easy. So here you can see I'm on LinkedIn and I'm going to type in Arizona Commerce Authority CEO. And the CEO, I've got a couple choices that come up. And it's either Brian Sherman or Sandra Watson. It's definitely not Harry Curtin because he's at BlockDrive. So now I've got Sandra Watson and Brian Sherman. If I'm not sure, and I just wanted to verify just to make sure my scam is accurate, I could just go to their website, right? It'll tell me who the CEO is right there. This isn't anything secret. But what might be fun to find out, though, is who are interns there. So if I go to Arizona Commerce Authority intern, guess what? I got 3 young, impressionable minds that are students that want to do a good job. They want to please their boss. They're an intern. So now I have 3 interns. And guess what they're giving me? They're giving me their cell phone numbers. They're giving me their email addresses. They're giving me ways to contact them. So at the very least, I could pull off this scam just by visiting LinkedIn. Hi, is this Joshua, our intern in marketing? Yes, who's this? This is Sandra from the ACA, the CEO. I'm currently in a confidential meeting with a high-profile executive from Dubai who I can't name. I want to send them away with a token of our appreciation from the state of Arizona. So can you buy me 2 $500 Amazon gift cards? Text me the gift card numbers to this number I'm calling you from. Why do they say that, right? Because it's a different phone number. You might have Sandra Watson in your contacts. And you're like, this isn't your phone number. But I'm getting ahead of that. I'm smart enough to address that in my scam text. So I'm saying, I needed to use a loaner phone. Mine is dead. I'll have HR cut you a check for $12.50 first thing in the AM to cover the cost of the cards and a little something for you. Private business, mortgage company, real estate. This doesn't sound so crazy, right? State of Arizona, first red flag that should jump out at you. No one from the state is going to give you $250 just because. So that's not going to happen, number one. Number two, we all know the challenges of buying things as state workers, right? Do you honestly think anyone in state government's going to be able to just get $1,000 in Amazon gift cards? No. But can you see how this would work somewhere different, maybe? I think you can. So you can see how easily this stuff comes together. And the purpose of this training really is just about awareness. I want you all to be aware that the information that you're sharing in the virtual world can have consequences for you in the real world. You'd be surprised how many people don't understand that the thing they do on their cell phone can harm them in real life. It could take real money out of their real bank account. That's the purpose of this training. This is why I wanted to get this in front of you, to show you how easy this information is to gather and then use to manipulate for nefarious purposes. And I will be happy to open the floor to any questions or comments that you guys might have. Anna Marie, what you got? Anna Marie, I think you're muted. All right. I'm not hearing anything here. Anyone have a question they want to put in chat or anything like that? Maybe if you can't talk. All right, I'm not seeing anything. This presentation will be available in its entirety. And I'm going to stop recording, and then we can continue on with questions.